Hi, this is Trisha from Craft Her Way. In this video, we are going to create our own custom polymer clay cutter using Cookiecad. The design we will be creating today is a cutout star design. You can use any design software to create your file. For this tutorial, I will be walking through Photoshop. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new file here. And I'm just going to use the dimensions of 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels, clicking on Create. We will navigate to the shape tools here, and you want to look for this polygon tool, and that will help us create our star. Here at the top, we will look at our sides. We want 5 sides, and then in this gear icon, we'll take a look at this star ratio. It's currently set to 75%. So we'll go ahead and create our star. So I'm just going to hold the Shift key and drag out my star. And then I'll just use that space bar to help me keep dragging. And we have our star shape. With this shape, we can round out the edges by clicking on this little icon here. And we can make it more rounded here. And then I want to make a cutout of the star. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this layer. So I'm going to go right click, duplicate layer. And then I'm going to scale this down. So we're going to go to Edit, Free Transform Path here. And it will just bring up the menu here. And then I'm going to select on my width and height. We'll go ahead and maintain aspect ratio here. And we'll just try 50% for our scale, and then we'll click on OK, and then I'm going to give it another color here. Just clicking on my move tool here, we'll click out of it to see how it looks, and then I'm just going to position this down a little bit to give it a little bit slightly different spacing, and I like the way that looks there. So I'm going to go ahead and select both of these layers, and I'm going to go to Layer, Combine Shapes, and then we are going to use this subtract front shape here, and it will create our shape. And then I'm going to select black for our shape here. So we have our file here, so I'm going to go to File, Save a Copy. We'll go ahead and give it a name here, and then under Format I'm going to go with JPEG, clicking on Save, and then OK. I am now in the Cookiecad designer here, and this is a web-based software that you can use to create your clay cutters. So we'll go ahead and click to upload our file. Go ahead and select your file, clicking on Open. Under Thing to Make, we want to make sure we have Imprint Cutter is selected. And then we can determine our size here. I'm going to go with a size of 25 millimeters, and I like to work with a width. And then I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here. We can see the start of our cutter here. Scrolling down. Currently I have Sharp Blade turned off. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off here, and then we can see our outline. And then let's take a look at the imprint settings here. For our depth, it says 0 is flush. In this case, we do want to create that cutout, and so we'll turn this to 0. And then let's go ahead and click on edges only so we can see our edge here. And then looking at our blade depth, I'm going to go with a depth of 9 millimeters, and the thickness is the actual thickness of our cutter. And so my nozzle head on my 3D printer is 0.4, so I'm going to go with a 0.4 millimeters. But if you have a smaller nozzle, you can use a smaller thickness. Turning on extra blade here, I'm going to go with a depth of about 6.5. And then I'm just going to bring up my thickness just to 0.5 here, and that just gives it that extra support for your cutting blade. And then for the handle, I'm going to go with a height of 3 millimeters, a width of 3 millimeters, and then I like the rounded shape handle here, which we can see. Because currently our inside is not connected, so we do need to turn on this center bar setting. We can see that center bar going to go with a smaller center bar. In this case, we do not need a vertical bar, but if you want to give it a little bit more stability, you could. And then there are some experimental settings here that you can look at. Here there is a change imprint thickness. Let's take a look at our imprint. If for some reason you needed to adjust the thickness of that imprint, you could right here. In this case, it looks pretty good. So we will leave that setting there. And then you also have the mirror feature if this is an object that is not symmetrical side to side that you can use as well. So let's go ahead and download this STL file and print it with the 3D printer so we can see how it prints. So I'm just going to click to download the STL. When naming my files here, I like to add the width is 25 just so I know what size this cutter is. We'll click on Save. So I'm here inside Bambu Studio, which is the software that works with my 3D printer, which is the Bambu A1 Mini. I'm going to go ahead and click on File, Import to import my STL file. I'll select my file here, clicking on Open. And then we can see the file here. I'm just going to position it here on my plate. And then you want to click on Slice Plate. We'll bring this up here. And then we can see the rendering here of our cutter. And you just want to make sure that it looks good. And then we'll go ahead and click on Print Plate and send it to the printer. Here we can see the 3D printer printing this cutter. It's definitely cool to see it printed layer by layer. Here is the finished clay cutter. It took 20 minutes to print it. You can see we have our sharp blade there with our extra blade, and then this is the back side with the handle there. So let's go ahead and test out this cutter here with some polymer clay. Just push firmly into your clay. Sometimes it's just a little bit sticky coming out. And then just pull away the excess clay here. And then we can see our cut. You want to remove the little center. I always find this part just a little bit tricky to get it out, but we have our cutout center. So now you can just go ahead and bake your pieces. And then here is an example of the earring that I made with this cutter. Great for 4th of July. Thanks for watching this video on how to create this custom polymer clay cutter using Cookiecad. If you like this video, go ahead and leave it a thumbs up and give me a comment below. This is Trisha from Craft Her Way. See you next time.